Yo, what's going on YouTube? I am JohnPont09 and today we are going to be talking about OBS advanced settings for streamers. If you watched my two previous tutorials, you now have OBS set up, you have it connected to your YouTube channel, you've got some sources and some scenes added, and you're ready to go live. However, that is just the very beginning of streaming. If you've been streaming for any amount of time, you know there are a lot of advanced settings and tricks that you can make to improve your stream quality. Today we're going to be specifically talking about having optimal microphone filters so that your microphone sounds better while you're streaming. I'm using the Blue Yeti microphone, so it's not a super fancy microphone. It's pretty mid-range USB microphone. There are definitely more expensive microphones out there and there are definitely cheaper microphones, but the Blue Yeti has done really well for me, and with these filters that I show you today, even a mid-level microphone is going to sound great for you. We're also going to understand the purpose of filters for their specific situation. So in other words, I'm basically just going to teach you what the different filters do so that in your specific situation you can tweak the settings that I'm using now to up the quality of your specific stream. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the color correction filter that is going to be for your game capture or video capture device. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So you see my OBS here. I'm in my reaction scene, and we're right now looking at the display capture. We're going to look at the Blue Yeti microphone source first. So I'm just going to click on the source, and in this version of OBS, I have a pretty current version. It may not be the most current. Admittedly, I'm a little bit hesitant when it comes to upgrading OBS and keeping it the most current, just because I feel like when I've done that in the past, the most recent version seems to cause issues or being wonky. So I normally wait a little bit, but at any rate, we'll get to our filters here for the Blue Yeti. And what these filters are really going to allow for us to do is just have a better output for our mic, basically. So all of these things are not going to come stock on your mic. So you might get a Blue Yeti microphone, for instance. This one, I bought it when it was $89. I just checked on Amazon. The all black one is $99, but there are other colors available still for $89. And when I first plugged it in, I was like, oh wow, this mic isn't that great. Because right out of the box, it's not going to sound that great if you just plug it into OBS and go live. However, with these filters that we'll go over, it is going to make it sound dramatically better. So I'm just going to go through my settings. They work for me. Shout out to Nate Savage. He actually helps me out tweak some of these filters and settings. He's another really good streamer friend that I have. So that's another thing of streaming. If you can't find a tutorial for something, the next best thing is to reach out to a friend if you have any friends that are streaming and they can help you out, hopefully. So the first one that we're going to talk about is the noise suppression. I have my noise suppression level at -5 decibels. And the speed at low CPU usage. I could probably go to the good quality, but I have not had any issues with this setting here. The noise suppression is essentially going to filter out background noise. So if you have roommates or maybe you live in an apartment or where you're streaming is a little bit noisier, stuff going on outside, maybe even traffic, the noise suppression is basically going to help reduce some of that background noise for you. Similarly, in that same vein, we have the noise gate. It does a similar type of thing. Basically, this is only going to allow sounds to go into your microphone that are within a certain threshold of sound. So this is pretty much customized for the sound of my voice at the distance that I sit from the microphone. So I have the closed threshold on -44 decibels and the open threshold at -34 decibels. I've seen a larger difference in these, but generally you want to keep these about 10 decibels apart. Again, I haven't had any issues with these settings, but perhaps I kind of have more of a monotone voice, but if you have a more expressive voice, you might want to look at adjusting that to maybe 15 decibels apart for the open and close thresholds. Attack time 25 milliseconds, hold time 50 milliseconds, and release time at 50 milliseconds as well. Compressor, this is another important thing. I'll just go through my settings. The ratio I have 10:1, threshold -18 decibels, attack is at 6 milliseconds, release is at 60 milliseconds. Output gain, I have mine at 0, but I have actually a separate filter for the output gain. You can also do it here, but I just have mine separate. Sidechain ducking source, I have that to none. Honestly, don't even know what that is. But if you find out, leave it in the comments for me. My gain, I have at 3.5 decibels. Also on this microphone, and your microphone may have this also, I have a gain knob on the back of my microphone that you can adjust the gain as well. The gain is basically the sensitivity, if you will, of the mic. So the higher the gain is, the more sound the microphone is going to be able to capture. It makes it sound louder in a way, but it's not really a volume setting. It's more, if you think of like capturing water, you're going to capture a lot more water with a bucket than you will a shot glass. The gain is basically the audio way of describing it is gain will make that a wider bucket and be able to record more of the sound, I guess. In the end, it just makes it sound louder, but I like to think of it as a sensitivity type setting. And then lastly, we have the limiter. The limiter also helps to emit background noise or like keyboard clicks, things like that, especially if you're a PC gamer. I have my threshold at -7 decibels and the release at 60 milliseconds. So again, most of these work to do the same thing as far as cutting out your background noise and also just being able to tell the microphone what sound specifically to focus on. So definitely play around with it. As you can see over here, as I'm talking, the Blue Yeti is right here. Most of the time when I'm talking, you want to have this set to a level. Mine's at -2, but it's going to depend on, your specific voice and settings where you have this. But most of the time when you're talking at a regular volume, you want to be in the yellow. Yellow is actually good. I know it, in some audio, you don't really want to get in the yellow. You want to keep it in the green. For your voice and for live streaming, you do want to have your voice here and then other things a little bit lower and occasionally peak in the yellow. But for live streaming, you always want your voice to be in the yellow and it should rarely hit red. The limiter is going to help us with that as well. Basically that -7, if I yelled or something like that, it's not going to peak the microphone basically. All right, so those are our microphone settings. I also want to briefly go over the color correction filter. So just like the microphone has filters, we can also do filters for video display. So to show you that, this is my reaction scene, so I don't have a gameplay capture here, but I'll show you on this one. So this is the display capture, but if I was on my gaming scene, you can just click on your gaming capture and then click on filters, same principle. You can add a filter here. And I guess I should have told you, so I already had all of my effects added on my microphone, but you can add each one of them using this add button, the ones that I went over, and then there'll be a list here that you can select from. So what we're going to do is we're going to add and then color correction. You can also choose to name it something specific if you want. Color correction, you can also hide the filters. So for instance, if you want filters on your face cam for one scene but not another, you can hide them on specific scenes or show them for them to be activated. On this one, the only trick that I'm going to show you, I have on my gaming display capture on both my PC games and my Xbox games. When I use my Elgato, I like to do this trick. Basically, you're just going to put your contrast at 0.3. And then you're going to put saturation at 0.5. And basically that is just going to make your stream a little bit more colorful. So especially games like Apex, Fortnite, people that don't play the game a lot probably won't be able to tell that you've messed with the saturation or contrast, but people that are used to playing the game, they're going to look at it, and especially if they don't have the best monitor, they're going to be like, wow, the stream quality is so great, because they're used to seeing the colors in the game and they can tell that they're a little bit brighter. So the saturation, you don't want to overdo it here, because if you do it too much, add too much saturation, it's going to end up looking like a cartoon or something like that. And same thing for the contrast. A little bit goes a long way on both of these settings, and it's preference, it's all preference based. You can also adjust the brightness, and I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to adjust the opacity, but you can do that as well. Maybe this could be a good setting for like a face cam. If you don't want your face cam to be fully opaque, you could adjust it there. But anyways, that is all I have for today. So I hope you guys understand a little bit more what the filters do on your microphone. Little bonus feature here also for the video filters, and again, that can be done on either a game capture, it can be done on a face cam, it can be done on an Elgato display capture, something like that. Any video, basically, you can add filters like that as well. But if you guys enjoyed this video, I definitely appreciate a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new here. I do have other OBS tutorials and more tutorials about streaming coming in the future. We're going to be talking about the Stream Deck and the Elgato capture soon, so if you are a play on console but still want to stream on PC, those tutorials are going to be for you. Stream Deck is also a very useful tool. If you've been streaming for a while, you definitely should invest in a Stream Deck, in my opinion. But that's all for today. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace.